The room went dead silent the moment the question landed, a question so sharp, so direct that even a simple yes or no could have shattered the walls of power, but instead the nation's top law enforcement official sat frozen. And that silence told America more than any answer ever could. This wasn't politics. It was something far deeper, a collision between truth, power, and fear. For months headlines had swirled around the Epstein investigation, whispers of sealed files, secret names, and the question everyone wanted answered: who was being protected? And now, in a congressional hearing watched live across the country, Representative Eric Swalwell was face-to-face with FBI Director Patel, pressing him for answers the public was long overdue to hear.
Director, the first time you saw Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files. Did you close the files or keep reading?
I have reviewed not the entirety of the files, so
you haven't reviewed all of the Epstein files?
Personally, no.
You're the director of the FBI. This is the largest sex trafficking case the FBI has ever been a part of. Buck stops at the top, and your testimony today is you have not reviewed all the files.
What I've been doing is been busy providing the safest country this country has seen in modern U.S. history in historic speed, because the men and women of the FBI are given the resources to reduce the homicide rate, to reduce the drug trafficking rate, to reduce the amount of children that are being trafficked, and the number of pedophiles.
It sounds like those children being trafficked would appreciate the director reviewing the files. You said you don't know the number of times Trump's name appears in the files, so it could at least be 1,000 times. Is that right?
The number is a total misleading factor. We have not released
anyone's
name in the Epstein files that has not been credible.
Director, could it at least be 1,000 times?
We have released every piece of legally permissible information.
Okay,
you can characterize the numbers however you want it.
Reclaiming my time, Director. It sounds like if you don't know the number, it could at least be 1,000 times.
It's not. It's not.
Is it at least 500 times?
No.
Is it at least 100 times?
No.
Then what's the number?
I don't know the number, but it's not that.
Do you think it might be your job to know the number?
My job is to provide for the safety and security of this country. My job is not to engage in political innuendo so you can go out to the sticks and get your 20-second hit in your fundraising article. Keep going, reclaiming your time, because the people of California are being underserved by your representation.
If the president is not implicated, why not release everything that involves him?
We have released everything, the president and anyone else's side, that is credible and lawfully be able to be released. Your fixation on this matter and baseless accusations that I'm hiding child pedophiles is disgusting. Anyone that says that needs to look at the stats alone and go back to the state of California, who's receiving the biggest surge in FBI resources through my redeployment, because the cities of Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco need it.
Director, remembering your oath to tell the truth, did you ever tell Donald Trump his name is in the files?
I have never spoken to President Trump about the Epstein files.
Did you ever tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
The Attorney General and I have had numerous discussions about the entirety of the Epstein files and the reviews conducted by our team.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
And we have released where President Trump's name is in the Attorney's
It's a simple question.
file.
Did you tell the Attorney General that the President's name is in the Epstein files?
During many conversations that the Attorney General and I have had on the matter of Epstein, we have reviewed.
The question is simple.
Who
did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files? Yes or no?
Why don't you try spelling it out?
Yes
if you're
or
gonna mock
no, Director?
Use the alphabet.
Yes or no?
No? A, B, C,
Director,
D, E, F?
it sounds like you don't want to tell us. Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files?
Why don't you try serving your constituency by focusing on reducing violent crime in this country and the number of pedophiles that are legally harbored in your sanctuary cities in California? I'll work with you on that.
Regular order, Mr. Chairman.
I'm
the gentleman from California.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
Question has been asked and answered.
You've not answered it, and we will take your evasiveness as a consciousness of guilt. Director, did Donald Trump ever say to you, just find and release the entire truth? Don't worry if I'm in it?
The instructions from the administration were to release all credible information, and we have done that.
Did Donald Trump ever provide information about Jeffrey Epstein as an informant?
Donald Trump has not been, and I can only speak for the FBI, an informant of the FBI.
So, Director, you've played this cute shell game where you say you can't release everything because the court has said that it legally is not allowed to be released. But the court calls bullshit. Judge Richard Berman said that when you went to the court, quote, information contained in the Epstein grand jury transcripts pales pales in comparison to Epstein investigation information and materials in the hands of the Department of Justice. So let's move on, Director. You wrote a book called Government Gangsters. You identified 20 individuals in that book. You put me on that list, at the top of the list. Thank you. My children find it flattering. 20 of those individuals have been investigated or have had adverse actions. Director, considering that you have identified these people as, quote, government gangsters, will you recuse yourself from making any investigation decisions about these individuals?
Anyone that has been terminated at the FBI has been done so
the
because
question
they failed
again,
to meet the muster
Director,
and their constitutional
I will
obligation.
work on the audio-visual capabilities.
I'm going to borrow your terminology and call bullshit on your entire career in Congress.
Reclaiming my time,
it has been
Director.
a disgrace to the American
Director,
people.
I'm reclaiming my time.
You can reclaim your time all you want.
Mr. Chairman, you're going to allow a witness to speak this way? Mr. Chairman, would you give...
recuse yourself, Director.
The gentleman has no time to...
Mr. Chairman, would you
Mr.
admonish the
point of-
witness not to insult members?
The gentleman has no time.
Mr. Chairman,
the
just
committee will remember.
quick point of order. Could the gentleman be extended an additional 20 seconds to complete his thoughts, since the witness decided to interrupt him continuously?
And the witness will be able to respond if he wants. We'll make sure he
Thank
has
you.
time to do that.
My question
We'll
is,
continue.
will you, Director, recuse yourself, yes or no, from investigating or making decisions about the 60 individuals, including myself, that you identified as government gangsters? Yes or no?
Time of the gentleman has expired. The
No.
witness may respond if he would like.
And the answer was no, as I heard.
Correct.
Okay. The gentleman...
Swalwell leaned forward, steady and unshaken. Did you tell Attorney General Pam Bondi that the former president's name is in the Epstein files? The room held its breath. Cameras zoomed in. Patel glanced down at his notes, then came the dodge. We've released all credible information that can be lawfully released. Not yes. Not no. Just another polished wall of words designed to sound official while saying absolutely nothing. Swalwell didn't blink. Director, I'll make it simple. Answer it plainly. Use the alphabet if you have to. Yes or no. A tense laugh rippled through the hearing room. Patel shifted in his chair. Still no answer. And that's when Swalwell fired the line that echoed across the internet within minutes. We'll take your evasiveness as a consciousness of guilt. 30 seconds in, the hearing had already turned historic. Because when the man leading the most powerful investigative agency in the world can't answer a yes or no question about the largest trafficking case in U.S. history, something is deeply wrong. Patel tried to steer the conversation away. He started listing statistics, declining homicide rates, safer streets, stronger enforcement, but the congressman cut straight through the smoke. You're the director of the FBI. This is the biggest trafficking case your agency has ever handled. You're telling us you haven't personally reviewed all the Epstein files. Patel hesitated. Personally? No. That was the breaking point. Imagine that, the head of the FBI admitting under oath that he never personally read the full case files tied to one of the most disturbing scandals of the century. Swalwell's expression said it all, disbelief mixed with outrage. You haven't read the files, but you're confident everything that could be released has been. How does that make sense? Patel's defense sounded rehearsed. My job is to provide for the safety and security of this country. But what about the truth? Protecting the country includes protecting transparency. It includes holding everyone, no matter how rich, famous, or powerful, accountable under the same law. Instead, Patel's answers made it sound like the truth itself had become classified. Swalwell didn't back down. He pressed Patel to reveal how many times the former president's name appeared in those files. 1,000? 500? 100? Each time Patel brushed it off. I don't know the number. Then maybe it's your job to find out, Swalwell shot back. That single line hit like a hammer. Because in that moment every viewer watching understood the bigger question: if the director of the FBI doesn't even know what's inside those files, who does? The air in the hearing room grew heavier with every exchange. What started as a question about names in a file had become an indictment of the system itself. Then Swalwell dropped a quote that cracked the narrative wide open. Reading directly from Judge Richard Berman's ruling, he said, "The information contained in the Epstein grand jury transcripts pales in comparison to what the Department of Justice holds." Translation: the real story isn't in the public record. It's still locked away inside the DOJ, so who benefits from keeping it sealed? Patel repeated his familiar line, "We've released everything that's legally permissible," but that phrase, legally permissible, has become Washington's favorite escape hatch. It doesn't mean the truth. It means whatever version of it they're willing to show us. That's when Swalwell shifted gears. He brought up something Patel clearly didn't want discussed: the FBI director's own book, Government Gangsters. In it, Patel had labeled more than 20 people as enemies within the government, including Eric Swalwell himself. "So tell me, Director," Swalwell said, "will you recuse yourself from investigations involving those same individuals you've publicly attacked?" Patel didn't flinch. "No. Anyone removed under my watch failed to meet their constitutional obligations." It wasn't just arrogance, it was open defiance. That's when the facade cracked. The congressman snapped back, "You've insulted this committee and the American people watching." The chairman's gavel couldn't hide what had just unfolded, a live demonstration of how accountability disappears when politics gets personal. Because when the head of the FBI mocks elected officials and sidesteps basic oversight, it sends a chilling message: the rules don't apply at the top. This wasn't a clash of egos, it was a collision of principles. For survivors of the Epstein case, Patel's testimony was more than evasive, it was devastating. They've waited years for transparency, for acknowledgement, for justice. And here was the man tasked with uncovering the truth, refusing to even confirm whether he'd read the full evidence. The tragedy isn't just what's hidden, it's how normal that secrecy has become. Patel accused Swalwell of grandstanding for soundbites, but that accusation backfired spectacularly. Because viewers could see the real deflection happening in real time, each insult, each excuse, each refusal, another layer of fog over the truth. And that's exactly how power protects itself. Not by lying outright, but by drowning the truth in procedure, jargon, and arrogance until no one can tell what's real anymore. The judge's statement hung like a shadow over the entire exchange. There's far more hidden than the public has seen, and that realization changes everything. Because if the real evidence, the names, the testimonies, the logs, remain sealed, then the people at the center of it all are still being protected. That's not conspiracy. That's the definition of selective justice. Swalwell's persistence exposed the cracks in Patel's composure. Each question peeled back another layer of deflection until the only thing left was silence, and that silence spoke louder than any answer ever could. At one point, Patel even suggested that focusing on this case was distracting from the FBI's mission to keep America safe. But what good is safety without truth? What good is law enforcement if it enforces only what's convenient? In that single hearing, millions of Americans saw what happens when the guardians of justice become the gatekeepers of information. The exchange ended abruptly. Swalwell's time expired. The chairman moved on, but the damage was done. Every major outlet replayed the same moment, Patel dodging, evading, refusing. The public reaction was instant: outrage, disbelief, frustration. Because if even Congress couldn't get a straight answer, what chance did anyone else have? And yet buried beneath the headlines was the bigger takeaway. This wasn't just about one director or one file. It was about a system built to protect itself from exposure. The Epstein case is more than a scandal, it's a mirror. A reflection of how institutions prioritize their reputation over justice, how every new official promises transparency, only to hide behind ongoing investigations the moment things get uncomfortable. For survivors, it means another delay in closure. For the public, it means another reason to stop believing. But perhaps the most haunting part of this entire episode is how normal it has become. A high-ranking official refuses to answer, and instead of shock, we expect it. That's the real crisis, the erosion of accountability. Transparency isn't a privilege, it's the foundation of trust, and when that foundation cracks, everything built on top of it begins to collapse. Even now, rumors swirl that vast sections of the Epstein files remain sealed, some due to active investigations, others for reasons no one will admit publicly. Officials deny it, but every vague denial only fuels more suspicion. Because secrecy feeds doubt, and doubt destroys trust. What this hearing revealed wasn't just one man's evasiveness, it was the entire system's reflex to protect power at all costs. Swalwell's interrogation didn't produce a confession, but it did something arguably more important: it exposed the fault lines between justice and self-preservation. Patel's silence wasn't strength, it was fear, fear of exposure, fear of fallout, fear of what might happen if the full truth ever came out. And make no mistake, if those hidden files ever see daylight, they won't just reveal crimes, they'll reveal complicity. That's why this hearing mattered. It peeled back the curtain on how deep the rot goes, not just in the case itself, but in the very institutions meant to deliver justice. It also reminded everyone watching that oversight isn't theater, it's the only weapon the public has against secrecy, because once the truth becomes negotiable, democracy itself is on borrowed time. Pam Bondi's Department of Justice claims it's committed to transparency, yet here we are, still debating what's legally permissible to tell the people. That's not justice, that's damage control. And every time an official says we can't release that, another piece of public faith dies quietly in the background. This hearing wasn't just a confrontation, it was a warning that justice delayed isn't just justice denied, it's justice erased. Because when the powerful can hide behind silence, accountability becomes an illusion. So as you think about that tense exchange, Swalwell demanding the truth, Patel dodging, Bondi defending secrecy, and Judge Berman reminding everyone that far more remains unseen, remember this: the loudest confessions are sometimes the ones never spoken, and in Washington silence often tells the story no one wants you to hear. If you believe that truth should never depend on politics, if you believe that no file, no name and no institution should be above transparency, then make sure you subscribe, drop a like, and turn on notifications, because this story isn't over. The files may still be sealed, but the fight to uncover them has only just begun.